Hi guys, it's Dr. Allen Wright, and I'm here to talk about your final assignment. So let me share my screen and we will begin. All right, so originally our final assignment in this class was going to be a written exam based on the textbook. However, I don't feel like that's the most appropriate use of our time right now. You guys have been reading the textbook, we've been having discussion threads about it, we had quizzes early on. So instead, I like us to focus our efforts and contribute to our library's project on COVID-19 stories. So our library is collecting student stories about COVID-19, and they're going to archive them for future generations of students, historians, anyone who's interested in this to have and to look at. So our library says, you are living through a historic time. Wilcox Library encourages you to keep a journal of what your time at WPU is like right now, so future historians will be able to read about your day-to-day life and thoughts during the COVID-19 pandemic. And they're going to archive them and have them in our library. One thing I thought was really interesting is apparently there's actually a scrapbook from the 1918 influenza pandemic in our library, and one of the students put a mask in there. They were all wearing masks there, and they thought that'd be an interesting and cool thing to save. So I want us to sort of think about what we can archive, what we can show about this pandemic, and how we can communicate it to future generations of students. So for this assignment, you're going to do two things. The first is you're going to write a 500 to 1,000 word or make a 3-minute video story about your life and thoughts during this pandemic. It can be journal style, it can be like an essay, a letter to future Penn students, whatever. Be creative. You can include photos or images if they help articulate your point. And think about what you've learned in this class about communicating clearly and for specific audiences. What do you think future Penn students will want to know during this time? How can you convey that clearly? This is meant to be open-ended, but your essay should be focused and engaging. There are so many different focuses you can have here, and you all have a different story. Some of you are on campus, some of you have gone home and are in different parts of the country. Some of you have had your life change dramatically. Some of you are bored at home. Some of you have a mix of all those things. Share what it's like. You can focus on so many different things. You can focus on what work is like. You can focus on what Zoom meetings are like. You can focus on stories of people around you or how you are dealing with this. Whatever, write it, communicate it, and save it for future generations. The second part is you're going to write a short reflection for me where you tell me what you've learned in this class and how you can apply that knowledge in this final assignment. This part will be 400 to 600 words and cite the rationales that you've been doing for the units. So you'll turn both parts in on Moodle. Failure to turn in either part or failure to meet the minimum word count will result in failing grade. And after our class ends, I will submit your writings to the library. So don't submit them to the library, submit them to me, and I will submit them in bulk to our library. If you prefer not to have your story submitted to the library, let me know in your reflection, and I just won't give yours to them. Or if you prefer to have yours submitted, but you don't want your name on it, I can remove your name. Just make sure you tell me in your reflection so that I know that. I'll be grading for creativity in your approach. That doesn't mean that everyone has to be a great creative writer or video maker, but I want you to think about being unique. Do you have a central message or thesis that you want to get across? Will you make a how-to video on techniques for surviving the switch to online classes? Will you tell a story to illustrate changes you and your family have faced? Be creative. You can talk about the media. I know a lot of you have been really interested in talking about that. You can show us what the headlines look like. There's so many cool things that you could do here. I'm also looking for clarity in your writing and video. This does not have to be a traditional thesis-driven essay, although you can have it be like that. You don't have to do research, although you can. But your writing should still have a clear point. Do you have advice for future pandemic survivors? Is there something future Penn students or faculty should know about how Penn students, faculty, and staff reacted to the pandemic? Is it still too early to know what the takeaways are? Share with that. Stories, these do not have to be super personal. They can be, and if you're comfortable with that, great. It doesn't even have to be about you, but I want you to talk about things that you've seen, sort of whatever the experience you have is. And I'm looking for organized, well-edited, and proofread writing. I want you guys to take this seriously because future generations will read this, but I also don't want you guys stressing out. I know finals week is already crazy, and add the online onto it's going to be a lot of work. So I'm giving you guys time from now till the end of the semester to work on this. So your group presentations are due the end of this week, and then you have to the rest of the semester. This will be due May 6th. That is the last day of finals, due 11:55 p.m. and there will be no late work. School rules can't take it past the time. It's the last day of finals, so make sure you get it in on time. But I want you to take this seriously. Don't stress out. You share your story. You meet the word requirements. That's what I'm looking for. I want you to be creative in your approach. I want you to think about what you've learned about communication. I want you to use that. So let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I can't wait to see what you guys do with this. Bye, y'all.